have had the living hell scared out of them riding in a truck with Bob Joy looking at cattle. He almost killed me one day, and Bob was in there too, I think, and he never even knew he did it. When you look at cattle with Bob Joy, you better look quick because you're driving fast. We've got a lot of cows to look at, don't we, Bob? You know, Bob is one of the most humble men you'll ever meet. One of the greatest guys. He's a cowboy's cowboy. He can do the work. He knows how to be a cowboy. And he's always going to give all the credit for the good cows and all of this. He's going to give all that credit to these committee members. But I want you to think about something. In 30 years, the committee members have changed a lot. The common denominator was Bob Joy. That's the man that made sure the cows come in at Fort Worth, at the Eastern, at the Western, at the World Finals. I want you to think about something. It's damn cold during the fraternity. It rains. It snows. If there's going to be ice, the cows have to come in a day or two ahead of time. They've got to count them, sort them, put them on a truck, send them to town. And the one time Bob sent a steer to town, Greg Welch settled it, stood it right in the middle of the pen for everybody to see. You know, for 30 years, when that gate's opened at that Coliseum, there's always been a set of cattle standing behind it, ready to come in the pen. Now you think about that. 9,000 head per event. He's got to organize the trucks. Of course, all of them won't be the first one loaded because they've got other things to do. He's got to keep the owner happy. He's got to keep his cowboys happy. I don't know how you do it. For 30 years. Several years ago, my brother Terry was chairman of the cattle committee. He called me and said, Bill, we've got a problem. I was on the executive committee, I think, at the time. I know I had something to do. He said, we got a problem. He said, we don't have any cows. It was 58 days before the fraternity started, and Bob had taken the committee to Oklahoma to look at the cattle, and they showed him 647 head that they had kept from the summer cutting cattle. So, of course, they were the wrong kind. They were too big, and we needed 9,000, and they had 647 head 58 days before the cutting was to start. 48 days before the cutting started, the executive committee canceled the cattle contractor's contract because he was supposed to have those cattle all on hand 60 days before the cutting. And Bob and the committee found cattle, and most people at the fraternity never knew it happened. The story's not over. About a week before the statute of limitations ran out, the guy that had pulled that had gone broke, and he had convinced his bank in Dallas that it was our fault. And they sued NCHA for $2.5 million because we canceled their contract. We had one of our lawsuits, Keith. Well, of course, the cattle committee had to testify, and the bank hired a pretty good lawyer. And the judge was a female judge who knew nothing about cattle, so that's not good. So we had to, through our defense of our case, we had to educate the judge and the jury about cattle. And this attorney would ask, what was wrong with those cattle? Well, they had too much ear. What does that mean? They were too big. Well, how do you know? We looked at them. And finally, they put Bob on the stand. But Bob walks in, and he's so believable and so cowboy. And this is a good thing. Bob walks in, and he looks at the jury, and he says, howdy, how are you guys? And he looks at the judge, and he says, howdy, ma'am, how are you? And she explains to him that he shouldn't do that. Bailiff walks up with the Bible and says, raise your right hand. Well, Bob's left-handed, so he puts his right hand on the Bible and raises his left hand. Testimony starts, and the judge decides that they need to recess for the day. Bob looks at the judge and says, ma'am, can you write me a note? I've been gone from home 3 days. My wife needs to know what I'm doing. Walk out of the courtroom. The jury's going down, and one of the lady jurors, who was about Bob's age, turned around and said, if that judge won't write you a note, I will. Beth, bear with me. My brother Terry said, Bill, I swear, if Bob would ask them, all 7 of them would have gone home with him. There were 7 women on that jury. The next day, testimony starts again. The lawyer says, did you see those cattle? Bob said, yeah, I saw those cattle. I drive those guys everywhere they go. Yeah, I see every cow we get. How much did those cattle weigh? Gosh, I don't know. I missed a chicken 50 pounds last week. They said the courtroom just erupted. The jurors just erupted. And Terry said the judge was sitting there doing all she could do to keep her composure. We won the case.